So yeah, we are Managed Connectivity Solutions. A little bit about me. I have been the channel manager only for about 1.5 years. I've been with Sierra for 3 years. I've been in the channel for 10, so I actually ran support teams, cable teams with a couple other another master. So I am all channel all the time. Sierra Wireless as a company, we've been around for over 20 years. Actually coming up on 30 years. We started back in the day, we're no more as a hardware company, right? So we started back with the air cards that used to go into laptops before my time, but that's what I get to tell y'all, right? We have over 120 million devices shipped. We have over 400 patents. We are in over 130 companies. Our headquarters is in Canada, Richmond, British Columbia. For us, for Managed Connectivity Solutions, for what I'm going to talk about today, we are headquartered in Atlanta. So we have our NOC in Atlanta, our logistics team in Atlanta, everything is US based. And I'm from Atlanta, so it all works out. So what I want to talk about is why a wireless solution and why to start with Sierra. So everybody's talked about SD-WAN, about UCaaS. We kind of can fit into any of those, right? Because we're the connectivity piece. We're going to give you almost 100% coverage. We leverage all of the 4 major carriers to be able to do this. So we're using Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, and now T-Mobile as well. So we're going to put all that together for you. Again, we make our devices, so it's not going to be piecing together, going out and having to get a Cradle Point or Meraki or whatever, then get a SIM card, then manage those data plans. We're going to do all of that for you. We ship our equipment out, dual SIM. So every customer is going to get 2 SIMs. They're going to get active and passive. So if, for instance, maybe Verizon has an outage here, you guys can call in, switch over to the second SIM. We can ship them active. I only see the value is if something is mobile. Because once it degrades to a 3G speed, it will kick over to the other one. But there is a price point on that. So I would only really recommend it on a mobile solution, like food trucks, stuff like that. We have a guaranteed SLA. With our premium products. So we do have essentials and premium, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, it's simple, safe, and secure. Our 24-hour live support, I've already mentioned, our NOC is in Atlanta, our help desk is in Atlanta, and there's somebody manning it at all times. For single point of contact, we have a couple flavors of that. So any customer, even the one site, they're going to have a project manager, and if that grows to 2, 3, whatever, they're going to have that same project manager throughout the lifetime, obviously. If they get to a certain dollar amount or a certain amount of sites on these larger deals, they're going to have an entire account team. So they're going to have a project manager, a technical account manager. That will be their first line of support. Instead of calling into the help desk if they have any issues, they're going to have a customer success manager as well. So they'll have an entire team once they get to a certain amount. Everybody loves revenue, right? So we support that model. We're giving you your nationwide coverage, which I've already talked about. Install within days virtually anywhere. So we do use third parties for installs, but they're usually all trained. We have a couple of different resources we use. We know them. They've gone to the site. They know how to work with us. And when we do the install, they're actually calling into our help desk. Our help desk is walking through the process as well. They have to meet all the SLAs. They have to take pictures, make sure everything is legit before they are dismissed from that job. So we're a little bit more strict on stuff. The uptime guarantee, again, we have premium. So with our premium, they're getting a different antenna. So our best effort offering, which is fine for some customers, of course it's cheaper, is paddle antennas. With their premium, which is what I boost the most, they're going to get a MIMO antenna. So they're going to get a multi-in, multi-out directional antenna. It does not have to be mounted outdoors over 90% of the time, so everything's within the DMARC, wherever any of the other equipment is. The SLA is going to give them at least 6x2 in throughput. Our national average is actually 30x10. We've seen much higher than that as well, depending on area, depending on saturation, that sort of thing. We're going to give them latency guarantees. I know that's a big one, especially on a backup. So under 150 milliseconds, our average is 85. And then, of course, mean time to repair is a 24-hour ticket. And organic growth is something I like to talk about because I know customers like to test out, and sometimes they don't even tell the agents, hey, I have many sites I want to deal with. They kind of tell you, hey, I got this one site, and they're going to try to test us out, see how we work. We are always expanding We find that they try us at one time or tell us they only have this one site that might be trouble, and then they come back and they want all of their sites. So that model obviously works for all of us, but we do definitely see growth in that. After they have that original order, they've gone through the credit check, have their MSA, it's really just an order form. A couple pages, quote gets sent out, not a lot of paperwork, keep them moving. For time frame, connectivity for days or weeks. Our SLA, our expedites, it can be in 3 to 5 days. Average is 7 to 10. I feel like there's so much repetition in here. 24-hour support again. Real-time proactive management and monitoring. We do have a portal. Again, I think someone was talking about the portal not being the greatest this morning. We are on a legacy product right now. Excel is the company that we are now. Sierra bought Excel, or excuse me, I said it backwards. Excel was the original company. Sierra bought Excel about 3 years ago. We are still on that legacy platform. It gives them the information they want to need, or they're going to need, like health scores, static IPs, data pooling, that sort of thing. But it's very elementary. The portal we are moving to, AirVantage, which is what all of the other Sierra customers are on, is amazing. I would love to tell you it's going to be tomorrow, but I'd be lying because I've been told Q3, Q2, it keeps moving. But eventually that's where they will be. And for right now, you guys could have access to the portal that they have, as well as the customer being able to have access. We also give them notifications throughout the term, or throughout their month. So because we are data-based, we want to let them know, hey, you're at 25% of your plan, or 50%, or you went way over. You might want to check to see if your failover is now your primary. Go from there. So they will get that as well. And we can have multiple people on that. We like to get that information up front. So our use cases. Biggest one for us, sweet spot for us, if you want to say, is the retail backup. Of course, that's going to be those enterprise customers. Ashley Furniture is a customer of ours. They came to us. We're actually their third connection. Came to us. They use everything as cloud-based for them, right? So if it goes down, they can't have employees clocking in. They can't run transactions, anything like that. So that's what we're doing for them. Remote monitoring. So this is actually, they're buying out landfills, this company. They're using an SD-WAN solution. They're out in the, you know where landfills are. They're as far away from general public as they can be. And they're using us for the connectivity because they cannot get anything else. So again, going back to that previous slide, Ashley Furniture, of course, it's going to be some lower data plans. Here, they're going to be a little bit higher because they're using us for premium. Urgent and temporary, and the next one, D&Q, is kind of the same thing. So a lot of times you'll have those customers that are buying the fiber or even the coax, and then they find out, you know, they have an opening, and then they find out that they have a build and they can't pay the bill, or you know they're going to go live. This customer in particular is a retirement home in my area. They had the ribbon cutting ceremony. They had people moving in. Found out that there was a build and they weren't going to have the fiber in time. So they actually used 2 of our connections, bonded them together to get better throughput guarantees, larger data plan. They were able to open their doors, and then once installed, they just downgraded to a backup. We do have that flexibility. So in those situations, they'd already have a backup in place once their primary came in. Construction is a huge one for us. Construction we love because guess what? They bill it to the job, so they don't care what they pay, right? So we have a lot of large construction sites, and they can either do month to month where they're doing it to the job, or they can move them and pay for a move fee to move to different locations as well. Usually they're doing at least minimum 30 gig data plans because there's usually some CAD files, you know, higher usage base on this. So again, I'm kind of just going to go over the typical use cases and some pricing. So backup with SLA, smallest data plan, 250 megs, quarter of a gig. With SLA, $64 a month. Everybody's on SD. Go ahead, sorry.
I walked out of the beginning and I didn't.
Do you want me to start over? I can't, no, I was kidding.
But do you guys offer symmetrical or?
We don't. So it's through a 4G, so it is not going to be symmetrical. So average. So 250 megs is a data plan you're buying. So you're purchasing by consumption, kind of like a cell phone. Our bandwidth guarantees are 6x2, national average being 30x10. So this, again, is quarter of a gig, but we pull all of our data together. So when you're talking about many sites, unless they're all in the same region, which does sometimes happen, the likelihood of all of them going out at one time is very, very slim, and they'd have to consume all of their data before they went into overages. Another plus of that is because they are getting those notifications throughout their term, they can upgrade and downgrade. So if they know for a couple months it's going to be higher, they can upgrade and then downgrade back. Excuse me.
Does that come with a static IP or annual static IPs? Or?
You can only get one, and you do need to let us know up front. There is no extra charge to it, but we do what's called a radio frequency analysis to determine what carrier is best at each location. T-Mobile does not allow us to do static IPs, so we would try to put you on AT&T or Verizon to be able to give you that.
So I'm not that technical, but I'm going to ask you a question. So you put a dual SIM in, so if I put AT&T and Verizon, I get one static IP and you switch me over.
One static per carrier, so yes, if you go down, it will not be the same because the carrier is the one giving us the static IP.
And there's no charge for that.
Right,
if
so
you use
one.
AT&T, Verizon, I can get one static IP.
Correct.
For the carriers, and if AT&T is failing and I call you up and say move me to Verizon, then you can move me to Verizon.
Absolutely.
Have a static IP.
Correct.
It wouldn't move over automatically? You'd have to call it?
For active passive, yes, and that's how they're getting shipped. Again, unless they're mobile, I don't really see an advantage of paying an extra $15 a month to have it there. I mean, if customers really want that insurance, they can have it, but we are usually the backup in that. And again, they're going to start knowing.
Right.
It'll start degrading usually before it's like completely out, unless there's like a splice somewhere, right? So they can call in, and we could test it as well. You know, maybe they moved it when they weren't supposed to, and their latency is going up. We kind of play with that a little bit.
Go out and do on-site install.
We do on-site install. So the pricing I am giving you is including a professional install.
So $64 a month.
250 meg plan with auto failover. So for your SMB customers that don't have SD-WAN, don't have IT, they can get it for $64 because it's going to auto failover for them.
So that's just $250.
Right. And of course, I have a rate card, but these are just, you know, average pricing. Overages are $15 a gig. So pretty average. Again, you know, they can upgrade and downgrade if they start seeing that happening. I mean, we're in South Florida. We're going into hurricane season. Might have some outages. Just upgrade them so that they can still run their business, and then downgrade them when things get back to normal. Failover when using an SD-WAN solution. This is probably, you know, because everybody's going to SD-WAN right now, this is our biggest seller, right? So $91, 2 gig data plans, and again, they can pool. The reason we're doing 2 gig data plans is because that SD-WAN device is going to be pinging us to make sure that we are ready to fail over. So $91 a month. This is rate card. So once we start talking multi-sites, you know, that's when that gets adjusted as well. Gap fills for build outs. 10 gig data plan, usually small offices, 3 to 4 users, make sure they're not streaming. We can get them $181 a month. And I've already talked about the trailer. So these are our biggest biggest claim to fames right here.
Hey, Laura, I got a question.
Sure.
How many different carriers are you deployed with?
4. So we have all 4 of the big ones, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile.
Does that include hardware?
Yes. It's RCO gateways going out there.
Did, you know, with that, with 10.2, you said that's not your, that's like the minimum.
6.2, like we will not pass them to.
So, but what's the capability? I mean, how many users can be on that platform?
I mean, you're thinking about that. That's
This is a situation where they can't get the fiber in time, coax isn't available.
Right.
They need, it's a construction site, whatever those characteristics
Mhm.
are, which are very common. What's the,
So we're saying 4 to 5 users is very safe. Once we get past that, again, usually, and TCG can speak to this, I usually have one of my solutions engineers here with me to speak to those, but we can get them on any call to kind of go through all of that. But 4 to 5 users all the time is very safe on that connection. You got to think that's more than T1, and T1 used to be, everybody was running off of that, right? Our biggest thing is making sure that they are not using it for open Wi-Fi and streaming, because I mean, that's just the way everybody's doing it, right? I mean, how many people made sure they, when they came in here, got onto Marriott's Wi-Fi? So that kind of thing.
One more. So is this a contract price or? Is
Yes, that is 3-year pricing. We do, and me and Paul were just talking about this at lunch. We do month to month, all the way up to 4-year. 3-year was going to get you spiffs if we have spiffs, that sort of thing. Month to month and 6 months are very pricey. All of these pricings here with the 3-year, they're including that install. Even on a 1-year and a 6-month, we're including that install. Month to month, they're paying that up front, and it's like $449. So it's pretty pricey.
might as well sign at least a 1 year?
Yeah, or 6 month. Put them on a 6 month because a lot of times, number one, our month to months are usually not turning off in a month, right? So they think they're going to have it for 3 months, and they might have it for 4 months. So they've already kind of paid for themselves, even if they go up to 6 months. Also, what we like to do is get them as primary, put them on a contract, and then downgrade them to have their backup in place. Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
If they sign a contract, do they move, like, let's say it's a construction company and the trailer moves to different locations, can they move to different locations and still be under the same contract?
They're still under the same contract, but there are move fees because, again, we're doing that radio frequency analysis. We want to make sure where they're moving has the best coverages. I think we're talking through that now, so it's going to be about $400, like for the project manager, for the help desk, for the installer to come out and do a new install. Because when we're talking premium, we don't let them move it themselves.
Even if they're in like a trailer, it's their rack, it's already installed, and they're just gonna drive the trailer to a new job?
Well, I mean, that might be a little bit different, just because they're not actually uninstalling it and putting it somewhere. So we could talk through those. But if it's like a real location, a brick and mortar that's going to move it somewhere else, we want to do that install because we want to make sure that it's optimized correctly. But again,
Your appliance is considered just a modem versus something that needs to be able to provide some firewall services?
right, so we're giving you the modem, the SIMs, the antennas. It's an Ethernet handoff, so however you guys want to do it.
Is that, sorry, the construction trailer, 30
Mhm.
gigs, month to month, 481, is that 30 by 10 or 6 by 2?
6x2 is our SLA, so we're talking throughput when I say 6x2. When I'm saying data plans, that's like a cell phone. You know, how many gigs of data do you have a month to use?
No, right, that's 30 gigs in a month.
Right, 30 gigs of data to use.
But as far as the throughput, that's a 30 by 10 price?
No, that's a 6x2. We don't price based on throughput. We only price based on data plan.
So where does the 30 by 10 come in?
That's our national average. That's us analyzing everything. So 6x2 is, we will not install if it doesn't hit at least 6x2. Our national average is 30 by 10. So starting with Sierra, really easy. I'm your channel manager. You can register with me, talk to me. We also have someone that sits in the office all the time because we are on the road a lot that will help you. LaShawn Dunn, and simple email. Request a service order form, submit contract, and wait for commissions. The best part, right? So, go ahead.
Go back to that a second. Do they
Yep.
want to do a site survey first?
No, so our virtual survey takes care of that. Our RFA is going to tell us what carrier to get to provide and get them set up there. Now, if they're very slim. Like I said, we're 90% indoors, but there are sometimes, you know, if the building is metal or in a valley or something, we will take it outdoors. So for us to do that, it's like a 24-hour remediation, but we don't do site surveys ahead of time, no.
Even if you have to put it outside or put it somewhere else, there's still no installation charge.
Correct.
So even if you go out one time and you didn't realize that they're like,
Right. The only time there would be charges is if we have to rent some kind of equipment to get them outdoors, right?
So then if they go out and they install it and there's problems, then there's no, I think that's what you're saying.
Right.
There's no charge for if they have to change carriers or whatever
Correct.
you have to do.
Correct.
they have to go back 3 or 4 times to finally get this thing done.
We don't go back 3 or 4 times. No, usually, if anything, right? If anything, if they fail the first time, it's because of something with the carrier, and we're bringing all 3 SIMs there just in case. Saving everybody time, right? Or 4 SIMs, I'm sorry. It's going to be 3 if this T-Mobile Verizon thing ever does happen like we think. If it can't be done that way, and they are allowed to go outdoors, then we send a kid overnight, get a technician back out there to do an outdoor install.
No charge.
No charge. And our sales resources, this is my favorite tool to use, is this downtime calculator. Putting in, you know, you're sitting with an SMB customer, They think, oh my God, $91, that's so much. You put in, how many employees do you have? What's the average pay per hour? Monthly sales. What's that mean when you're down for an hour? How much does that cost you? So it's a great resource to have. And of course, I think I put one of those sales slicks on your table, but I have all of that in my book of tricks as well. And I think we talked about that before coming out here. And our contact information, I'm highlighted, but Ben, Dunn, and Jason Morath are our sales engineers. And LaShawn, I mentioned, is our partner support manager. What I will tell you is we are not apples to apples. So when people are talking about 4G, we look pricier or competitor-wise, getting us into those conversations to really talk about the differentiators, the SLA, the data pooling, we have at least an 80% success rate. Go ahead.
So the SLA pertains just to that
6x2?
6x2?
6x2, latency, mean time to repair.
So you had VoIP on a previous slide as far as, an application or whatever. Would you recommend putting VoIP on something that has 85 millisecond?
So as a backup, absolutely. Because, right, so it's better than nothing. And if you're talking about, coax, that's the best effort. They can't tell you anything, right? So that's it's better than nothing. And 85 is not really that bad if you think about it. And that's a national average. It could be less. So, any other questions? I talk really fast.
Really good.
Thank you. Good? Whoops, I went backwards.
That download calculator, is that like on the website or is that?
I'll send it to you. That is all. Thanks, guys.